Before there were kings, before there were armies, before there were borders, there was survival. Nearly 300,000 years ago, in Africa, early Homo sapiens walked a dangerous world. The climate shifted without warning. Massive predators ruled the plains. Food was uncertain. Water could vanish. And other humans were nearby. The earliest scientifically recognized Homo sapiens fossils discovered at Jebel Sahaba in Morocco date to around 300,000 years ago. These early humans were anatomically modern, but their world was harsh, unpredictable, and competitive. Conflict did not begin as organized war. It began as protection. Small bands of 20-50 individuals moved across landscapes in search of food. These hunter-gatherer groups depended on cooperation for survival, but cooperation had limits, especially when resources were scarce. When two groups encountered each other near water, hunting grounds, or shelter, tension could rise. Archaeological evidence suggests interpersonal violence existed long before written history. Cut marks on bones, embedded projectile points, and trauma patterns on ancient skeletons tell a quiet but powerful story. At Jebel Sahaba in Sudan, a burial site dated to around 13,000 years ago, archaeologists discovered multiple skeletons with embedded stone projectile points. Many showed healed wounds, suggesting repeated episodes of violence. This site is often cited as one of the earliest known examples of organized group conflict. This was not yet war in the modern sense, but it was the beginning of something. As humans developed more advanced stone tools during the Middle and Late Stone Age, technology changed the nature of conflict. Spears, atlatls, spear throwers, and eventually bows increased distance and lethality. Conflict no longer required close contact. It could now be projected. The development of language also played a role. Communication allowed coordination. Coordination allowed strategy. Strategy created advantage. Anthropologists debate whether early human violence was rare or common. Some evidence suggests cooperation dominated early societies. Other findings reveal patterns of lethal group raids among certain prehistoric communities. The truth is likely complex. Humans evolved with both cooperation and competition embedded deeply in their survival strategies. As the last ice age ended around 11,700 years ago, something changed dramatically. Agriculture emerged. The Neolithic Revolution transformed human life. Instead of moving constantly, communities began settling. They cultivated wheat and barley in the Fertile Crescent. They domesticated animals. They built permanent dwellings. Settlement created something new. Ownership. Land became valuable. Stored grain became wealth. Livestock became assets, and assets required protection. Archaeological sites such as Jericho, one of the world's oldest known cities, reveal defensive walls dating back to around 8,000 BCE. Massive stone fortifications suggest organized labor and a collective concern for defense. Why build walls unless there is something to defend against? As villages grew into towns, population density increased. Surpluses allowed specialization. Some individuals no longer needed to farm. They could become toolmakers, builders, warriors. Weapons evolved accordingly. Polished stone axes, improved projectile points, and early shields appeared. Organized group conflict became more structured. Burial sites from Neolithic Europe show evidence of massacres. At Talheim in Germany, dated to around 5000 BCE, archaeologists uncovered a mass grave containing men, women, and children who died violently, likely victims of an intergroup attack. These were not isolated fights between individuals. These were coordinated assaults. By the time humanity entered the Bronze Age, around 3,300 BCE in many regions, metallurgy changed everything. Copper and tin combined to create bronze, stronger and more durable than stone. Weapons became sharper. Armor became possible. Power concentrated in leaders who could command armed followers. And now, for the first time, we see something clearly recognizable: organized war. In Mesopotamia, city-states like Sumer competed for irrigation access along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Cuneiform tablets record disputes, alliances, and battles. The Stele of the Vultures, dating to around 2450 BCE, depicts one of the earliest known recorded battles between the Sumerian city-states of Lagash and Umma. Soldiers are shown marching in formation, organized, disciplined. War had evolved from survival skirmishes to structured military campaigns. Ancient Egypt followed similar patterns. Hieroglyphs document military expeditions. Pharaohs depicted themselves as warrior kings, reinforcing political authority through conquest. In the Indus Valley, while evidence of warfare is debated, fortified settlements indicate awareness of external threats. In ancient China, early dynasties such as the Shang, c. 1000, 600–1000, and 46 BCE, developed bronze weaponry and chariots, marking further evolution of military technology. Across continents, similar patterns emerged: settlement, resource competition, technological innovation, centralized leadership, organized conflict. War was no longer accidental, it became institutional. Yet even in these early stages, war was not constant. Trade networks connected distant regions, cultural exchange flourished. Diplomacy existed alongside conflict. Humanity was learning both how to fight and how to negotiate. As empires rose, so did professional armies. Assyria perfected psychological warfare and siege tactics. Greece refined phalanx formations. Rome developed disciplined legions that would dominate Europe and the Mediterranean. But all of that was still centuries away. The first chapter of war was not about conquest, it was about survival. The story of war is inseparable from the story of humanity itself. From the moment early humans defended their families with sharpened stone, to the construction of the first fortified settlements, conflict shaped social organization, leadership, and technology. It influenced migration patterns. It accelerated innovation. It created myths, heroes, and tragedies. Understanding these earliest conflicts is not about glorifying violence. It is about recognizing how fragile survival once was, and how deeply competition and cooperation shaped civilization. As we move forward in this series, we will trace how tribal survival evolved into empire building, how bronze became iron, how swords became gunpowder, how muskets became machine guns, and how battlefields expanded into air, sea, space, and cyberspace. This is only the beginning. From stone tools to satellites, the journey of war mirrors the journey of humanity, and history is still unfolding.